but the issuance of a council tax liability order was discontinued in 2003. Now I'm going to quote from the book. It's all in the book. It's crazy.
Okay, so you can see here, this is directly from the council tax handbook. This handbook that you can buy on Amazon, and it goes through all of the rules and procedures that the council should be following with regards to council tax, but they don't. But here's the key piece, right? And I won't quote everything. Form A, which is what it used to be called, originally provided to draw up liability orders, was removed from law 1st of October 2003, and no form has been substituted in its place. So that's an absolute irrefutable fact that's even in their own damn handbook, and yet they still do what they're doing. How are these liability orders real, legitimate? They literally are not, which is why the court doesn't hold any copy, because they can't, right? So hopefully, guys, you're getting this now. The liability orders are not real. The form does not exist, period.
There's no legal form for which the court can even issue a valid liability order, guys. But given we already know the court doesn't issue the summons, could it be that they don't issue the liability order too? Yes, we know the answer, right? So using our secret weapon, the DSAR, we can actually confirm the court don't hold it. And so what do we do now? Well, we DSAR the council too, and we ask them for our data and information contained within the original liability order. And what happens here, do you think? Well, if they don't produce it, we win. There's no liability order, but the court's already proven. And if they do produce it, we win. It's a provably fake liability order. The council are going to be in some pretty big trouble here. And don't forget all the legislation I've already showed you, right? So to summarise what we've got so far, we have a fake court with a fake court hearing, they're filing it for the day. We have the council literally committing an offence by issuing or printing the summons and the liability order themselves, and the court in question holds none of our data, none of the original documentation on proper court form. No summons, no liability order exist. So we can prove the council don't have a valid claim, and worse, they're even committing offences here. But there's actually one more point to cover. This is the actual final nail in the coffin, right? The council will happily tell you that they get their power to enforce council tax from the regulations, Regulation 34 of the Council Tax Administration and Enforcement Regulations Act 1992. Remember what I said earlier though about legislation, right? It's a contract essentially. And in simple terms, it requires our consent. But also remember too that whoever makes the claim has the burden of proof. There's a section of that act that they use, section 34.6, that requires the council to satisfy the court of the following two presumptions.
Okay, so section 34.6 of the Council Tax Regulations 1992, right? Let's look at that specifically. Section 6, the court shall make the order if it is satisfied that the sum has become payable by the defendant and has not been paid. Now remember, there's procedural rules that should be followed, that the council are meant to basically follow these rules, present the complaint in the right way and show all of the evidence that proves, okay, that we should be paying it. Now what it basically means is that the council need to satisfy the court of the following two presumptions. The sum has become payable, okay, by the defendant, me, you, whoever, and that any obligation has not been paid. And the key word is obligation. Remember, these are all legislations. These are acts, statutes, legislation. They are contracts. They require consent. Where's the obligation? There is none. So if the council have not evidenced it, how have they followed due process to show that we are obligated to pay the council tax? Just see how this whole thing, it falls apart when you just keep picking away at it. It's an absolute sham. So let's move on.
So first of all, do we believe the council has even attempted to satisfy the court of anything? Well, we already know the answer to that. No. We've already proven that without DSARs, okay, they have nothing. But the key word here is obligation. Has the council at any time proven that you, me, or anyone else is obliged to pay council tax? No, they haven't. So how can they claim that you're liable then? If any other corporation, okay, and they are a corporation, the council, if any other corporation said that you owed them a debt and they didn't provide any evidence to back up that claim, you'd basically tell them where to go. Why is this any different? This is exactly what the council were doing to everybody, and millions pay it, and millions now can't even afford it, but yet they carry on. They've even put it up, right? And in doing so, they're forcing so many people into financial difficulties, people that don't know any better. It makes me sick, guys. It makes me sick. But we are not without power. We have the DSAR, and when we know the game, we can use the Data Protection Act and the Freedom of Information Act, and we can literally catch them in their lies. And when they don't comply with that DSAR, which they won't because they can't, we issue a letter before claim, and then the claim itself. And folks, it may not even get to the point of claim because the penny may well already drop at this point. And you can simply negotiate with them. That's what I did in one of my matters. But if you do file a claim, and by the way, guys, I can help you with all this stuff. So if you want help, please book a call and we'll walk through exactly how we're going to do it. Anyway, if you do file a claim in court, you're going to win. And if you want to, you can take the matter to the criminal courts. Now, I've not personally done that yet, but if I'm honest with you, I'm going to do that. I really do feel it's time to hold these people to account. You know, as the world is going nuts, this stuff just has got to stop. You know, I really can't do it. So anyway, let this stuff percolate. Lose any fear or stress that you might have about this stuff. You are not obliged to pay any tax at all, especially council tax. And if you feel it's time to stop paying and you want my help and advice doing this,